Hello, and welcome to the 8-Bit Update, a show where we talk news from the worlds of video games to tabletop. I'm your host, Vincent Edwards, and we got a great show lined up for you today. In just a little bit, we're going to be talking about the remaster of Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, but first, we're going to be talking details about Sea of Thieves. Stay with us. Sea of Thieves, a multiplayer action-adventure game where players become pirates to sail across the Sea of Thieves. Players can sail their ships, fire cannons, fight skeletons of long-dead pirates, and of course, hunt for treasure. However, not all is peaceful upon the seas. Players may encounter several ocean-dwelling threats, such as krakens, ghost ships, and even other pirates. So you may think that the only way you can become a pirate and sail the seas is if you play on Windows or on the Xbox. This used to be the case, but soon you'll be able to do so from your kitchen table. Board game maker Steamforged is working in collaboration with Sea of Thieves to make the board game Sea of Thieves Voyage of Legends. In this game, made for between 2 and 4 players, you will have to compete against each other to become a pirate legend. Battle fierce sea monsters, pilfer plunder, and gain enough reputation to eventually become a pirate legend and win the game. Now, the game is not officially out yet, so I can't include or mention any reviews for it so far. It definitely seems interesting though. I'm a fan of the video game, so the board game does seem like something fun to break out with friends and family. I will say that I'm a little worried about it falling into the trap of being a branded deal and not actually being that fun to play. However, Steamforged Games is known for making high-quality games, so the chances are pretty good for this board game to turn out good. If you are interested in picking the game up while not released yet, the game is available for pre-order now, so you can check it out when it finally drops. Now, while on the subject of Sea of Thieves, the Sea of Thieves video game just got a content update. See, the game was originally released in 2018 by Microsoft Studios. However, even though the game was released, the developer, Rare, has not stopped working on it since. See, most of the reviews when the game first came out mainly rated it as average, primarily due to an overall lack of content. Rare didn't ignore the criticism, however, and has been constantly making new content for the game. The game has had a resurgence, turning into one of the currently most successful Microsoft exclusive games. This leads us to what is coming up next for Sea of Thieves. Season 9 is coming out today. Players will be able to find new treasure chests at the Forts of Fortune called Chests of Fortune. And for all the Reapers out there, beware. The Reapers and Reapers bounty chests have been changed. Now the beacons that are emitted from them now always stay on, even while being carried. So now players will always be able to tell where you're running off to. As an occasional Reaper myself, this is going to be rough for sure. All events in the world have had their difficulty changed as well. Now events, from the Forts of Fortune to the Ashen Lord fights, will now scale in difficulty to match the size of your crew. Ghost ship fights are back as well and will scale with crew size too. Random events are also more common, with being shrouded in dense fog and getting attacked by the Megalodon and Kraken occurring more frequently. There is also a new plunder pass, of course, and tons of new cosmetics and emotes in the game now, so many that I don't have time to cover them all here today. Another change is that when a ship is scuttled in the Devil's Shroud, all loot will now resurface closer to safer waters, so running is no longer a valid strategy to keep your loot out of enemy pirates' hands. As a final note, when harpooning loot from the water onto your ship, you no longer need to pull the loot off the hook yourself. Now it automatically places it on the deck next to you. That is definitely one change that I am super happy about. I always hated messing around with the harpoons to get loot on board before. Now, these are just some of the changes that have been added with Season 9. There is plenty of more content, but I don't have time to go over it all today. But if you want to explore the new additions for yourself, go check it out today. I know that I will, and maybe I'll see you out there on the Sea of Thieves. Now, we're going to take ourselves a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about the remaster of Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. Stay with us. Located in the Advanced Manufacturing Building, Nash Community College's robotics program equips students with the latest robotics experience and machining knowledge. Students in the Applied Engineering program get hands-on experience inside an immersive robotics classroom environment full of state-of-the-art equipment and industry professionals. Classes focus on practical robotics applications, including operation procedures, robotics programming software, equipment safety, and much more. Students also gain industry knowledge with skills such as machining, CNC robotics machining, robotic welding, and assembly line simulation. These classes show the proper handling of robotics equipment and give students practical knowledge on how robotics are utilized in a real-world setting. Nash's robotics program offers a wide array of career pathways, certificates, and third-party certifications, opening the door to new and exciting opportunities growing in a multitude of different fields. Want to learn more? Contact us today. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. So we just finished talking about Sea of Thieves, but now we're going to be moving on and talking about Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. So, Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, originally only released in Japan back in 2008. Now the game has been released worldwide as of last week. However, it is not the same game that it was back in 2008. Now it has been remastered for modern consoles. Considering the original release was back in the Nintendo Wii, I definitely think it was a good idea of remastering it before its worldwide release well over a decade later. For those that are not familiar with the Fatal Frame series, let me explain. Fatal Frame is a survival horror game series in which players have to try and survive hostile spirits that are trying to hunt down the player, all while the player is trying to make their way through the mystery of each game. What stays the same throughout the games are two things. First, players will have to try and survive against hostile supernatural entities in each game. These are made up of a variety of different spirits that haunt the levels of the games. The second thing that is a staple of the series is the camera obscura, a camera that allows you to see the dead. When taking pictures with a camera, the players are able to see where the spirits are and even have a chance of hitting the fatal frame. See, all pictures taken of ghosts will injure them and pacify them for a short time. But the fatal frame refers to a certain weak point that the spirits have that will destroy them and turn them into points that can later be used to upgrade the camera obscura. But why just take it from me? Let's take a look at the trailer right now.
あれが老月と二人の友達が死んだ。私は確かめたい。あの時何があったのか。音楽とともによみがえる記憶のかけら。この記憶はこの奥にずっとずっと奥、深く深く探さないと。大切なここにきっと何かあるはず。本当はここに来たくなかった。思い出したくなかった。
事件は終わっていないのか。神楽はこの島の人間にとって大切なもの。何が起こってたんだ。
あなたは咲くの。
あの場所で待ってる。
そう、私たちは見てしまった。忘れたの。
月はぎが始まる。
みんな咲いてしまえばいい。
Fatal Frame: Mask of the Lunar Eclipse was the fourth released installment of the series, with 3 more games coming out after it. In Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, we follow the story of a group of girls who were held captive on an island for unknown reasons. Years after their rescue is when the game begins, with the group going back to the island, seeking the truth of what happened. Now, I'm not going to go too much more into the story, as even though the game technically has been out for quite some time, it has only recently come to a world audience, and I for one am interested in it and want to avoid any spoilers. I love a good horror game and have been a real fan of the concept of the Fatal Frame series, despite never having had a chance to play it. Now that the game is being released on all current consoles, so I'll probably be trying it out for myself here soon. Now, I've done a lot of talking on the show about how I am weary of games with a gimmick. However, while the mechanic of the camera does kind of fall into the gimmick category, I am still interested to see how it feels during play, especially since Fatal Frame is a horror series. Being forced to search for enemies through a limited method through the camera probably fills players with dread and panic, and that is something I am hoping for. But that's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and catching this week's 8-Bit Update. Join us next week where we're going to be talking about a delayed remake of System Shock and why fans of the game Star Citizen aren't too happy right now. I hope to see you there.